By the early 2000s, many argue that the television had entered a golden age. One, with greater visual effects, two, better storytelling, three, greater levels of success. Also, advancements in technology such as the introduction of plasma TV had came out during the early 2000s, and even into the present day, technology has only advanced further and still continues to. But back in the early 2000s, television consumption had been at a high point, especially since streaming services weren't popular in the early 2000s as they are today, and the internet was not as developed as it is today. And the director highlights how the popularity of the television being people's main consumption may have been killing the brain cells of people, as it's a form of escapism, a distraction from the everyday life that people neglect. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is something that most people don't realise when watching the movie, and especially in the first scene, is that if you look closer at the television and what's on the TV, and it seems that Katie and Beck are watching an advert, and on the advert it's about body image, and advert 70% extra body. Now, my guess this is to highlight consumerism by companies trying to sell products for their own gain of making profits, and perhaps the director's trying to get the message that we're buying materialistic goods that we don't need by being lured by advertisements on the television. So that's another way that the TV is killing our brain cells, getting us to buy materialistic goods that we don't need. Another scene that I like to go over is when Rachel is showing Noah the tape. Rachel has a look outside the window and sees people watching the TV. The people look dependent on the TV. An example of the scene is you have a lady doing the vacuum while watching the TV, a man in the wheelchair watching the TV, and you have a child watching a cartoon. And how the scene goes from, and I don't think this is a coincidence, but the scene goes like this. It goes 1, a child, 2, a man in the 30s, 3, a woman, and 4, elderly man. And this all suggests that all generations are affected by TV consumption. And this is to basically hint that everyone is affected by TV consumption. And the director's trying to get the message that people have become dependent on the TV, that it has become a distraction from their everyday life. Another thing I wanted to highlight was we see a circle throughout the movie. And examples of when we see a circle throughout the movie is two scenes I like to go over, and that's one where you have Aidan draws a picture of the circle, and perhaps in this scene the circle foreshadows bad events to unfold in the ring. Then you have another scene where the circle flickers after the death of the horse, and perhaps the circle then represents danger. The circle represents an eye pupil watching, and the possible dangers, warning to the dangers of television consumption, with the circle being shown a countless number of times throughout the movie. And I don't think that's a coincidence that it's shown repeatedly throughout, that it's done purposely and intentionally by the director to get that message across of it being a danger, foreshadowing throughout the film. Also, Samara represents how television consumption is killing the minds of today's society, as Samara victims are shown to be watching the TV before they are murdered by Samara.